If you grew up when I did, you probably heard the phrase high-strung used to describe certain men. And it was never said with admiration. It meant nervous, reactive, easily rattled, and often a little embarrassing to watch. Today we have a different word and a better framework, highly sensitive. But are those two things actually the same? Or do we spend decades confusing a temperament trait with what happens when that trait is unregulated and shamed? Today, I want to unpack what I call the Barney Fife Syndrome, based on Deputy Barney Fife from the Andy Griffith Show of the 1960s. Barney is a classic portrait of a high-strung man, anxious, quick to alarm, overly confident as a cover, and prone to escalation. I'm not here to diagnose a fictional character. I'm here to use a familiar character to talk about a very real pattern that many sensitive men have lived. High-strung was a cultural shorthand. It meant your nervous system was too loud, too quick, too reactive. And for men, it was loaded, because the masculine ideal was calm, tough, and unfazed. So if you were high-strung, you weren't just sensitive, you were seen as defective. What happened to many boys is simple. You feel deeply, you notice subtle shifts, your system gets overstimulated easily. Then you get criticized for it. And once shame enters the system, sensitivity doesn't disappear. It just gets defended. Barney works because he's placed next to Andy, the calm center. Andy is steady and pragmatic. Barney is the opposite, a human alarm bell. Look at Barney's pattern. He detects threats fast, sometimes where there is no real threat. He escalates quickly because urgency feels like control. He uses swagger to cover insecurity. He clings to rules and authority because it stabilizes him. And this is important. Barney is written for comic relief. The audience is meant to laugh at him, which tells us something about the era. Sensitive, reactive masculinity was entertainment, not something to understand. So here's some key distinction. Highly sensitive is a temperament trait. It's often described as deeper processing, strong emotional responsiveness, sensing subtleties, and susceptibility to overstimulation. High-strung is usually a stress presentation. It's what people see when the nervous system is over-aroused and under-regulated. So it's possible for a man to be highly sensitive and not high-strung. In fact, many HSP men become remarkably steady when they learn how their system works. And it's also possible for a man to be high-strung for reasons that have nothing to do with being highly sensitive. If Barney were a real person, what would he be missing? Skills, support, education, permission? Because a sensitive man without regulation tools tends to live in a cycle: overstimulation, reactivity, embarrassment or shame, overcompensation, and just repeat the whole cycle. An empowered HSP man does something different. He notices overstimulation early. He slows down before acting. He chooses the smallest effective response. He sets boundaries instead of posturing. He learns to be calm without becoming numb. So let's do a few quick contrasts. Barney jumps in hot, escalates, talks too much, tries to control. Empowered HSPs pause, scan, ask one clarifying question, and respond with precision. When feeling disrespected, Barney blusters, but empowered HSPs name the impact and set a boundary very calmly. In reaction to overstimulation, Barney spirals. Empowered HSPs reduce input, resets, and return with clarity. This is what maturity looks like for sensitive men, not toughness, but skill. The old label high-strung tried to turn sensitive men into a joke or a warning sign. But sensitivity isn't the problem. The problem is stigma, shame, and lack of tools. We don't have to live as the punchline anymore. We can model a new version of sensitivity. Steady, receptive, grounded, and strong. If this resonates, read the full blog post, share it with a man who grew up hearing the word too sensitive or the words, because that label never told the truth. Thank you for listening to Thoughts with a Sensitive Man. If you found this episode valuable, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might benefit. Your support helps us reach more highly sensitive men and those who care about them. Until next time, take good care of yourself.